Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the seminar on entrepreneurship at SBM ITB Auditorium. And the main issue of today's seminar is the technopreneurship, especially in software and online business. But first of all, I would like to read the today's seminar agenda. The first is the presentation from our only speaker, Mr. Michael Bodekaer. Welcome to SBM today. The second is the QA session, and the last is closing. But now, before we proceed to the presentation, let me read the short biography of the Mr. Michael Bodekaer. Yeah, Michael Bodekaer is a technopreneur from Denmark, and he is the co-founder of the several tech startups over the past 12 years, exited successfully. And the two exited successfully, is it? And then he established Contenga International, a software and online services company based in Denmark, Hong Kong, and Indonesia, where it's in Bali, yeah? And it's going to expand to Bandung, yeah. And some of the startups of Contenga International are Project Gateway, the lifestyle design for entrepreneurs, the Filondo, luxurious villa rental in Bali, yeah. So everyone who would like to go to Bali, yeah, just go to Filondo, yeah. And the Smart Lounge, a gaming cafe management software, Mailbird, Windows desktop mail application, and edutainment games such as Combio, yeah, is it? Virtual Lab and Startup Field, a game to teach student entrepreneurship, yeah. So you should all play this game, yeah, yeah, for entrepreneurship. And Michael Bodekaer graduated from Copenhagen Business School, majoring in finance and mathematics with second highest GPA. Wow, great. And he continued his master's degree on finance and strategic management in Copenhagen University, as well as Harvard University and Kellogg School of Management in Boston and Chicago. Wow. And Michael Bodekaer is also an alumni of McKinsey & Co. Management Consultants. So, dear audience, we come to the presentation by our speaker, Michael Bodekaer. And Mr. Michael Bodekaer, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Will I get this? Hello? Great. So, first of all, thank you for the great introduction. I hope today that I can share a little bit of my experience about entrepreneurship. So, I'll be talking mostly about entrepreneurship in general, but since I'm a tech entrepreneur, I'll also focus a bit on tech startups as well, since that is where I have my passion and also my expertise. So before we get started, I'd like to just talk a little bit in general about what I will talk about today. So I'll start out by telling a little bit more detail about what I have been doing, just so you can get an idea of who I am and what I do. Then I'll talk more about my top learnings in entrepreneurship. So I'll share with you my top 3 tips on how to become a successful entrepreneur. So in my opinion, that is. And then finally, we'll also look a little bit more on our future dreams. So I have here with me also in the front here, we have our team. So we have, yeah, as we just mentioned, we have plans now to expand into Bandung. And I'll talk a little bit more about that and how we plan to hopefully inspire a lot of people here in Bandung as well to become entrepreneurs. Hopefully even join us in that quest that we have. So it's going to be very exciting. And I will also, of course, we'll have Q&A in the end. So make sure you think about any questions you might have. Maybe specifically to some of the companies, feel free to ask any kind of questions. I'll try my best to answer them. And yeah, with that, let's get started. I think, yeah, maybe one more point. I tend to get very excited when I talk about entrepreneurship. So if I start talking too fast, please do like this. Maybe you can all try. Let's have a quick test. And you all demonstrate exactly like that. Very nice, very nice. Good. So if I see anyone doing like this, I will slow down. Okay? Good. Is the microphone? It's working just when I. Yeah. Okay. So I hold it like this. All right. Very good. Let's jump into it. So first of all, who am I? So my name is Michael Bodekaer, and I always consider myself or describe myself as a tech entrepreneur. And by that I mean I'm a kind of guy that sees ideas everywhere and try to solve problems and then eventually turn them into businesses. And yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing my entire life. Yeah, serial tech entrepreneur. But I'm really also just a geek, you know. I'm a happy geek who found a way to make money off of my passion, which is tech development and design. So I actually am a self-taught developer, so I don't have any education at all in development, but all my early businesses started just with me basically developing my own companies. Besides that, I love talking about entrepreneurship like today. I really like sharing my ups and downs and my experience, and I hope that again at the end of this presentation, I hope that if you've just gotten one little thing away from this presentation, then I'm happy. Maybe even if I can inspire someone to become entrepreneurs and take their business to the next level, then that would be my goal. And yeah, then I enjoy surfing as well, and extreme sports and all that kind of stuff. So that's good. So just quickly some highlights about what I did so you get an idea of that. I started back in '98 as a freelancer, and I think that's the way that many tech entrepreneurs especially, they start out by providing different services in their expertise. So let's say for me, in my case, I was good at designing Flash websites back then, and I found a way to provide websites for different advertisements agencies. So I worked a lot on that, and then on the side I would always spend my time trying to build up my own businesses and really learning, getting ideas, and talk with other entrepreneurs. And I found that to be a really, really good way to get into entrepreneurship, and it allowed me in 2009 to say that I had successfully launched my two first profitable businesses. Now, I was not alone in that. I had co-founders as well working on that, but at least it at that point allowed me to focus 100% on entrepreneurship and to really concentrate on building more businesses and growing the existing businesses. And then in 2005 and 2007, I was able to sell two of those companies, which was of course really great. So then I could kind of say that I'm also a successful entrepreneur. But we'll talk a little bit about the word successful later on, because it means different things to different people. But at least at that point I had kind of financial success. And then later on in 2008, I joined McKinsey & Company. I wanted to get out in the corporate world and kind of also experience what had I been missing out on when I was an entrepreneur. Maybe there are some things that I had missed and didn't learn, and wanted to take some of that experience into the entrepreneurial world. I quickly realized though that the corporate world was not for me. This whole idea of having other people tell me what to do didn't really work. So after a while, I think spent about 1.5 years there, I decided to quit my job and go back to entrepreneurship. But with that being said, it was still one of the best experiences in my life, and I did learn a lot about that. So I can warmly recommend people to join the corporate world also again to get experience. And what I learned especially is a topic around working very effectively, being very productive. Yeah, and then the last couple of years I've been again working on investing in new companies, starting up new tech companies, online services, games, different very interesting businesses we'll look a little more into. So yeah, with that, let's jump on. So yeah, this is a list of all the different companies I have tried to start. Okay, so not all of them are successful. Hello, it's a little weird this one. Yeah? Hello. So while there is a lot of companies on this list, I would like to highlight that I did fail quite a lot as well. So for instance, AdWire, that company failed. It was a mobile advertisement agency, and we basically provided advertisements on mobiles. The problem was that this was back in the days when we only had SMS and MMS, and we were basically just too early for that market. So bad timing on that one. IT Job World failed. We got sued actually at some point. We check your legal stuff, make sure that you're not stepping on any other toes, especially not the big companies that can usually get you into trouble, like it did in this case. Then we failed in Soup Institute, and that's an interesting case because it's a good example of the importance of passion. So the Soup Institute was a healthy takeaway soup bar, and you can probably hear it has nothing to do with tech. And since I'm a tech entrepreneur, I quickly lost the passion, even though it was actually a quite good business and it did have lots of potential. We wanted to create a franchise around Soup Institute, but basically I just didn't find it funny and never really worked on it that much. And of course then, as any other project, it would go along and die at some point. Eventbird failed recently because of team issues, another common failure I'd say in many tech startups, or any startup that is. So make sure that you align with your team up front on what are your goals, what are your involvement in the company. Very important topic as well. then what was that? Oh, SmarterWay. Yeah. So SmarterWay failed as well. First of all because it's a bad name. Second of all, also just because again we didn't have any passion. It was about it's a takeaway solution. So it was tech, but still in food and so on, and not really my passion. I like to eat food, but working with it is not so nice. Softitech licensing company. Good example of how we built a really nice product. We spent about a year building that product, Softitech, hired developers and so on. And then at the end of that year, we thought, hey, we have this greatest product ever. And then we went out and tried to sell it. And it turned out that no one wanted to actually buy this product. So a good idea always, before you start even developing anything, try and go out and get your customers up front. Get commitment from different customers so that they're ready to buy your product once you launched it. So yeah, ended up wasting about a year on that one. Yes. All right. So those were a lot of the different companies, and there's even many more companies. I start many different projects, and then usually after a few weeks I realized that was a bad idea. But right now we're focusing especially on these 7 companies, startups. Some of them have been existing for several years, others are very new. And Vilondo, for instance, is one we talked about, which is a really nice online website where we try to make the whole business of renting villas online a much more pleasant experience. And it's a good example of a project that came out of my own problems or needs, you could say. I was looking for villas in Bali when I was originally moving there, and it was basically a pain in the, And at that point, I decided that hey, we can turn this business into. We have an opportunity here to create a service that will actually revolutionize or make the business of renting villas much better. So I encourage you to go in and check it out for yourself and see if you think it's better. I strongly believe that it's a really good business opportunity. So new company started about 1.5 years ago. Then we are working on 2 very exciting games actually. Called Startup Vampires and Virtual Lab. And it's a whole new area that we're focusing a lot on, around making fun games that can educate as well. So Startup Vampires is actually a game where, and we have the team down here so you can ask a lot more questions to them later on if you want. It's a game that teaches entrepreneurship. So the goal is to have a game, imagine Farmville for instance, you'll be playing that game and then after playing that game, you will have the feeling, oh, okay, I actually just created my own startup, and I actually learned a lot about the potential failures and so on that I can run into, so that the people that have played that game will be much better equipped to go on and start their own companies in the real world. So a lot of fun. And Virtual Lab is the same, just for biotech companies. And I'm very excited to say that we're working with Agata Studio actually, and we have Andrew sitting here as well. On creating some of those games, so really, really cool, and one of the reasons also that we're here in Bandung today. And then we have Smart Launch as well, which is again a software for desktop software. I'll run a little quickly through those, but basically we also built a very nice C# WPF desktop software, and that's something that I'm personally very passionate about, and creating great interfaces. And what I usually say is we take the Mac style and we put it to the Windows platform. That's what we're focusing on there, and we'll soon be launching 2 of these products, which I'm very excited about. And then the last one is Project Getaway, which is, I put it as pure fun. It's a little more than just fun, it's also about inspiring people to become entrepreneurs, and I'll talk more about that in the end, and we have a nice movie to show you as well. So yeah, so that was the companies that I have worked on, and I already shared a little bit about my failures in those companies, what went wrong and so on. But I'd like to also talk a little bit more about what are in my view, what are the top 3 reasons for my success. And in order to talk about success, you usually also have to look at your failures. So it's all about figuring out what did I do to actually avoid some of the failures that I ran into in some of the other companies. And so then I thought to myself, okay, what is the #1 reason for all of my successes? Big question, yeah. Do anyone have any idea what that might be? What do you think it could be? Any suggestions? No? Very quiet, yeah. So I'll go with that one then. I know the answer. So first and foremost, you need to have a very, very strong passion. So I talked about a little bit, some of the companies that I failed in was because I didn't have that passion. I didn't have that energy and drive that you need to have to keep on going in these startups. Trust me, no matter which company you start, you will at some point run into very boring stuff. Maybe you have to do accounting at some point. There will be lots of things that will kind of bore you, at least accounting bore me. I know it's probably not for Jeff here, who's actually been working a lot with it. So make sure you have a really, really strong passion for the startup or the topic that you're working with. That will allow you to get lots and lots of, let's see, I wrote it down here, lots and lots of energy, drive, motivation, and also very important, focus. Keep you focused on the same startup so that you can keep on going through that. So then I thought to myself, well, what is actually my top passions? Well, first and foremost, it is to create great software, both desktop but also online services, and now also games, which I'm very interested in. Then I focus a lot on learning and improving myself, and I'll talk a lot more about that here today, how you can learn some of the, or how I am actually learning. But it's something I focus a lot on always to improve myself, both in terms of running companies, finance, doing speaking like this as well. And then I like to inspire others to live life fully and also to become entrepreneurs, which I think is two topics that are very tightly related. So I'd like to ask all of you guys, what are your passions? What is it that you are excited about? And you don't have to answer it right now, don't worry, but just think to yourself about it. What is it that really inspires you? What would juice you in the morning and get you up and excited about the day? I think that's a very, very important question to ask yourself, because you have to love what you do. And if you do not, then quit and do what you love instead. I think it's very. So a quick test you could do with yourself. Could you wear this kind of badge, for instance, going to work? If you cannot, then I would think more about what you're doing. Yeah, maybe consider something different. So there's a very nice quote. I actually don't remember who said this, but it doesn't matter either. It's a very good quote. So success is not the key to happiness, but happiness is the key to success. And it's the same, I believe, if you are happy working on your startup or your company, your tech startup, then you will be very successful eventually, both in terms of happiness, so you'll be happy enjoying life, working on those things, but you'll also have financial success eventually, because you'll have that drive, that passion and motivation to keep on going. Yes, this one I'll jump. This is a really, really nice poster. We have it actually hanging all over our offices. It's called the Halsti Manifesto, so you can look it up on the internet. And I'll actually advise you to print it out and hang it back home where you are living. So I'd like actually just to read out quickly the top and the bottom. So this is your life. Do what you love and do it often. If you don't like something, change it. And if you don't like your job, quit. And then later on down here it says, life is all about people you meet and the things that you create with them. So go out and start creating. Life is short. Live your dream and share your passion. Beautiful. So yeah, again, ask yourself, even like as a challenge, try it for the next 10 days when you wake up and ask yourself, what are you really excited about in your life? That will be a good way to give you the passion, and I can strongly believe that that's the #1 reason why I've been successful. It is what have kept me awake late hours working on my interesting startups. Alright, so that's the #1 reason. Does anyone have any suggestions for the second one? It's a very quiet audience. We have to motivate you more. Yeah, no one. All right. In my view, and again, this is my personal opinion, it might be different for other people's, but in my view, working smart is very, very important as well. Now, you can still work hard, I think that's good, but if you end up working on stuff that doesn't matter, of course, you will not be successful. So it's about working smart and getting more out of your hours, especially as an entrepreneur. You need to be able to focus on the things that really matters, and that's usually quite difficult, especially in the beginning, when you don't have any experience creating startups. So I'll talk a little bit about that, how to work smart. So I see working smart as a skill, just like you're learning math. The great thing about working smart is that it's quite simple to learn. You just have to sit down and start focusing on learning it. And to do that, I'll just list what I especially believe, how to work smart, what's important there, and then I'll share some good material with you that I hope you would take with you, maybe write down and potentially also read a little bit about. So one of the best way I believe to work smart is to find people who have already done what you are doing and then just do the same. Okay? So find people who are in the same type of business. If you want to create your own company, there is a 99.99% chance that someone has already done that before, or something very similar. So find them, even if it's a competitor, and learn from them, follow them, make sure you go around and talk to people that are doing the same things. And even if it means you have to work for free for some people, go and do it, because you will learn much more. I mean, the value of what you will be learning from them will be much, much bigger than any salary that you could get from that. Second, understand your purpose. So make sure you always have a clear idea of why are you doing the specific task that you're working on right now. So if you're working on, let's say you're creating an online service, any kind of online service or tech startup, understand why is it that you're creating this. What is for instance, the pain point that you're trying to solve for your customers. That's usually one of the important things. And once you have a very clear purpose, it will be much, much easier for you to set daily and weekly goals. And again, I do this every morning, spend at least 10 minutes every morning, just writing down, okay, what am I going to do today? And what are the 3 or 4 most important things that I can do to grow my businesses, to have more success, or to also enjoy the day, important as well. Okay. And then 2 additional topics, and I'll just go through them quickly here. So automate processes. So always look for ways to automate your processes or the work that you're doing, and eliminate waste. So oftentimes I see people spending time on stuff that doesn't matter. I talk to some entrepreneurs, and they spend maybe 1 or 2 months finding out their company name and their logo, and they don't even really know who their customers are before they do this. So honestly, don't waste time on things that doesn't matter. So have a clear purpose in your mind. And then, here are some good inspiration, and I'll highly recommend everyone to read it and to reread it. So 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. How many in here actually know that book? Not that many actually. Go out, grab that book. It's really, really good. Easy to read, and even if you have already read it, reread it, remind yourself of what it says. You'll find some very good inspiration in that one. 4-hour work week. Sounds good, right? You can work only 4 hours a week. There's a lot about the 2 last topics I mentioned about automating processes and eliminating waste. All right, and then Time of Your Life is a good audiobook as well. So definitely recommend to go out and grab that. So you probably most know this guy, right? Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs once said, good artists copy and great artists steal. So again, a great example of working smart. If someone has already done something that you're trying to do or something similar, go out and steal it, be inspired. I'd even like to add to that as well that brilliant artists improve. So don't just steal stuff and don't just copy it. Find ways to improve it. If you don't believe you can make it better, don't do it. It's really bad for the market, it's bad for the competition. There's the only reason, or the only thing that you can then compete on if you can only copy is the price usually, which in my view is, well, it's good in some cases, like for airlines and stuff like that. But most cases, you have to find ways to improve and add value to the market. That will allow you to charge more as well. So second most important thing to become a successful entrepreneur, in my view, is to work smart. Last tip or main reason that I have been successful in my life, I know Jeff knows this because we've been practicing it. So that is a productive mindset. And what do I mean by a productive mindset? Great question, Michael. Thank you. So I see many. I talk with many entrepreneurs, and I coach a lot of different young small businesses as well, or people who want to create their business. And often I see them being limited by having an attitude of, no, we cannot do that, and oh, we can't do that, and so on. You really need to adopt the can-do attitude, meaning that you can do anything here in life. And I really believe that there's nothing you cannot do, only things you haven't learned to do yet. Think about that one. So if there's something you can't do, go search on Google and you figure it out, or YouTube. You'll find a video that they explain the weirdest stuff on YouTube sometimes, right? So you can find anything if you just search a little bit. So have that attitude, adopt that. That will get you through the tough times. Then another important thing is many people see problems as very bad things. They will eventually happen in your company if you're creating your own startup. You probably have already faced some problems. but have a very positive mindset towards them. I see a problem as a challenge, so I always try to turn it into a little game that, this is going to be fun, how will I solve this, and how fast can I solve this problem? And then again, it's also an opportunity for me to show how other people can solve the same problem. So it's an opportunity for you to help and share with other people as well. So important mindset as well when you're working with entrepreneurship is to have that kind of mindset, productive mindset. This one is great. I like Calvin and Hobbes, very nice cartoon. I read it a lot. And this cartoon was just perfect for this one, yeah. So basically failure, we all know this one, right? And failure is great, it's good. So it provides you feedback on what not to do again. And it also then means progress. So again, never see failure as a bad thing. It's really just to stop up and try again. If stuff doesn't work, try one more time, continue until you actually succeed at doing it. And again, here, passion, super important, so that you can get through all of those failures that, I tell you, I failed quite a lot. I didn't stop up, I just kept on going, and eventually you will succeed. I promise you. All right, it's time for a movie. So I'll just see, on the topic of failure, I have a very good inspirational, very short 1-minute video I'd like to share with you. I hope we can get sound running and everything. Ready? Here we go.
Dismissed from drama school with a note that read, "Wasting her time, she's too shy to put her best foot forward." Turned down by the Decca recording company who said, "We don't like their sound and guitar music is on the way out." A failed soldier, farmer, and real estate agent. At 38 years old, he went to work for his father as a handyman. Cut from the high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. A teacher told him he was too stupid to learn anything, and he should go into a field where he might succeed by virtue of his pleasant personality. Fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination and had no original ideas. His fiancée died, he failed in business twice, he had a nervous breakdown, and he was defeated in 8 elections. If you've never failed, you've never lived.
And that is so true. So go out there, take risks, and don't be afraid to fail. All right. Yeah, a little bit of additional inspiration again, if you'd like to learn more about this productive mindset. Again, I'm not inventing all this stuff. I spend a lot of time learning and improving myself, reading, listening to audiobooks, and Personal Power 2 by Anthony Robbins is one great example. He's also making great presentations. I warmly recommend anyone to attend that. And then there's Positivity as well by Paul McKenna. Great, short, fun audiobooks to listen to. So highly recommendable. And then I have a free bonus for all of you guys. Okay, so on my website I have actually gathered all of these thoughts. Now today I've only shared a little bit of it with you, but I have actually a mind map on my website where you can read a lot more about these different things. There's some relevant notes and information about all this stuff. So it's a really good overview of all of the things that I believe have been able to allow me to create successful businesses. And there's also skills in terms of, for instance, communication, people skills, finance, and so on, and effective learning. So I'll definitely recommend going. It's under resources on my website. And so that's the last topic that I believe of the top 3 tips that I wanted to share with you about how to become a successful entrepreneur if you're working in your own business. So what's funny is here that I haven't talked anything, if you notice, about technology really, or big great ideas or things like that. And I believe this is universal to any kind of entrepreneur. And I think still that these are the most important things. Start talking maybe about 4 or 5, then you come into the more specifically to the individual business. But if you don't have these 3 in the beginning, it will be a very tough time for you as an entrepreneur to go through creating a business. So I always recommend, start focusing on these things. Work smart, be passionate about what you do, and have a productive mindset. So even if you learn to work smart, it'll also get you through your studies much faster. Oh, and by the way, I created a book called 4-Hour Study Week. So if you drop me an email, I can send you a copy of that, so you can learn about how to study faster and learn faster as well. Short little fun book. Good. So I have some more videos for you coming up. I'd like to share with you our big dream and also talk a little bit about why we're here in Bandung and what's happening and so on. As you know, we're working with Studio among others, but we're also looking for lots of skilled and talented people. One of the missions that we're kind of on is to inspire people all over the world to become successful entrepreneurs. Yes, even in Alaska. So we're still very early on this quest, but we have created different initiatives that will allow us to, show people the potential or the kind of life you can have if you become an entrepreneur, create your own business, and have fun doing that. And one of those projects I'd like to talk a little bit about is Project Getaway. How many in here already know about Project Getaway? I think it was listed as information. Not that great. All right, so I'll show you a video that tells more about it. The basic story is that what we do is we invite people from all over the world to come here to Indonesia. And it's usually both successful entrepreneurs, very successful entrepreneurs, but we also invite potential aspiring entrepreneurs, people who have a big potential to become entrepreneurs. So it's basically for anyone who has a passion for entrepreneurship. And what we do is we put them in exotic villas, and they work together for about a month very closely and share their ideas and their passion and their ways of working and creating successful businesses. And for that, we have again a funny movie, and this is about 6 minutes, and it's quite funny. So it's an event again that we have going in Bali, and I think the video will explain the rest. Here we go.
I'm here in Bali, having a really good time with a lot of good people.
Bali is 30 degrees Celsius, nice weather, we have pools, surroundings are great.
Bali is fantastic.
The idea for Project Getaway came up when a couple of my entrepreneurial friends were having a dinner, and together we do that once in a while. We just discuss different things, and we talked about how we enjoyed traveling around the world, but missed the social part that we had, the ability to interact with other like-minded people, entrepreneurs, people who enjoy life and focus on having a good life balance between work and enjoying life.
Our day normally starts around 8, then we go and have breakfast, which is always very good. We already put on the leftovers, of course. It's the best. Put more. Like if you take that 1 year of the happiness.
After breakfast, everybody goes to work at their own spots in villas. We usually sit over here. We claim this spot we'll be sitting mostly. And for example, for today we are going to work on the payment gateways for the shopping product.
So we have a lot of time between breakfast and lunch because we don't have to do anything besides working.
What's really cool about Project Getaway is that there was a mobile luxury app created that allows us to order in drinks and food. Basically, this is the mobile luxury app, this one. We can order drinks and juices, one mixed juice. We select where we want the juices at Villa 1, confirm the order.
I'm the chief sports officer, so I have to make sure that people sometimes have some sport activities. This was a short session where people really take the maximum effort and energy out of them. 2, 3, 4. Okay, again. Yeah, everybody goes like this.
After dinner, people usually just go their own way. Some people keep on working. I see a few people, they work until 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And others, they relax at night. Like, for instance, for now, we are putting a movie on and watching a movie on the projector, relaxing, having a good time. And that's about it. What we do at night.
You don't have any things that you have to do. You can just focus because we have like a chef that is cooking our food. We have someone doing laundry for us. It's just like eliminating all the disturbances.
It's also been great to experiment with different productivity methods. So a few of us have come together and begun to test different methodologies for being productive. So we'll talk about a different idea and test it out for a couple of days and reflect on whether or not it worked and make changes.
I personally believe in surrounding yourself with like-minded people. I've started a few mastermind groups in the past too and found those extremely powerful, but that's always been virtual. This is like in person, it's live. You're surrounded by like-minded people who are in startup entrepreneur.
You can always go and ask somebody else for advice and input and share with them, come and look at my computer, what do you think about this? And that's really such a great resource to have here.
We are in a paradise island, so you have to really enjoy that experience. It should not be only work, it should be also mixed with a lot of pleasures. So you can go out to the club or to the bar and have some drinks, or just go for 2 hours in a nice restaurant. That makes it interesting.
Today I really just focus all my time on making sure I have a good balanced lifestyle where I can work on the companies that I absolutely love to work on while making sure that I have a fantastic day every single day.
I don't know if I haven't really worked, it's hard to say because it's all fun to me, so it's hard to differentiate between what's work and what's fun, but I am doing some productive stuff, but at the same time relaxing a bit, having massages and sipping mango juice.
And so yeah, Project Getaway is a really, really cool initiative. And again, the goal is for us to inspire people to become entrepreneurs and show them the kind of lifestyle that they can have. And you don't even have to be that successful to actually be able to have this kind of lifestyle. And again, as I said, we really try to combine any kind of people in this community. So we have very successful people, but we also have people who doesn't even have their business yet, but have a passion, a strong passion to create a good startup. And also one of the things that we've been working on is turning this into like a real office environment, so an all year long type of office environment. And we call it the powerhouse, and we have currently the offices in Bali like this. So it's very similar to what you just saw here as well. We really focus on having a lot of fun while we work on the businesses, because we all believe that that's such a strong and important thing to be able to have that passion and motivation to create businesses. So, yeah, of course, the goal is also to take that here to Bandung. We're still looking for the right, perfect spot for this, but eventually our goal is to have this type of office here as well. And what I was really, we visited Agata Studio recently, and I really enjoyed seeing that passion and that energy that you have in the team there, and that's exactly what we also hope that we can benefit, especially also from working with Agata. So, yeah, so really happy to see that. Another very cool initiative that we're working on is something I mentioned earlier called Startup Vampires. And again, the goal is to create these fun games that can inspire people to, first inspire people to become entrepreneurs, but second also teach them how to become successful entrepreneurs. And it's a very practical game, but still also very fun. Without telling too much details yet, I can tell you that it's about creating your own blood business. Sure, you have to sell blood and maybe add some caffeine or different elements to it, and then try and make money out of that. So it's still early stage, still working a lot on it. But we actually work looking for skilled people to help us build this up. So if you're interested in working with us or joining us in creating a game like this, please let us know. We'd be very happy to have people join us on that. Yes, that's just about what I wanted to talk about today, and I think timing-wise it's perfect also. I just have one, again, you know, I'm really passionate about entrepreneurship. I want to inspire everyone to try to become entrepreneurs. So one last thing, in best Steve Jobs style, is another video, and this video, hopefully some of you have already seen it, but even if you have, it's a great video that talks about entrepreneurship, why they are so important for our world, especially in times of crisis. I believe, again, entrepreneurs are the people that create jobs and create opportunities here in this world. So I think we have time for some questions as well. So again, if you have questions specifically to some of the companies or technology in general, now is the perfect time to ask. Here's some more information. You want the...
So any questions? Do you want to write the questions first and let's just take them? Okay, one at a time. Question, okay.
Hello, my name is Hani and I'm from SBM ITV. And my first question is regarding about the technology business. I mean, technology is about innovating something, and I want to know what your company is doing when you're trying to establish new business. I mean, innovation is something about new to people, and how you see this new idea is matched with the people, because when you want to start a business, then you should look at the market first, right? So in the future, your business won't suffer and fail because you don't know the condition about the market. But how you see this new business opportunity and how you create this connection with an innovation, how these people could adopt the innovation that your company create. And my second question is about your business, about your company, about this vampire startup. Because I haven't heard about the company here in Bandung. I mean, for games company like, for example, PlayStation, I can find the product in the market easily, and how you market your games, because I rarely hear about the company here. Okay, thank you.
Use this one, yeah. So first question: how do we test new ideas and innovation? And yeah, I think exactly the key word is testing. So go out and build prototypes very early on, and go out and talk with your customers, potential customers, or even better is always the scenario where you have the own problem, the problem yourself. So in the case of Vilando, for instance, where we're trying to create a better way to search for villas, I had the issue myself, so I kind of understood at least my pain point. But that alone is of course not enough, so we also go out and we talk with other people that have been trying to search for villas, try to talk to potential customers and understand what is it actually that the problem is, to really be very clear on the pain point. Once you understand that, it will be much easier for you to define, what is it that we want to innovate. Because innovation can be many things, but what is it exactly that we want to innovate? With that, you have a good start. But then again, always keep a very close loop with your potential customers. And as I mentioned earlier, try and get customers before you even launch. I mean, we've sold products that we didn't even, that was just an idea. We didn't even have any description of it or anything like that. Startup Vampire is actually an example of that. So if we continue with your second question, so Startup Vampire is a new product. So that's why you haven't heard about it yet. It's brand new and we're still working a lot on it. And the way we work with Startup Vampires to promote and market it is to partner with universities. So we know that in the world today there's a huge demand for entrepreneurs, and universities are the perfect entity to inspire people to become entrepreneurs. And I know here at ITB there's lots of people who would like to become entrepreneurs. So what we do is, in that case, we go out and talk with the universities about what is their pain point actually. Well, they need to find ways to inspire more students to become entrepreneurs, because there's lots and lots of great talent in these universities, not only within business, but also within art, for instance. But there's many students that just don't believe they can create their own business. That it's too risky, it's too dangerous, no, and I don't really know what to do, and these kind of things. So that was the main pain point that the universities have. So they're looking for a way to solve that problem, and we came in with a solution, which is in this case the Startup Vampires game, where we really try and make it fun for the students, and we make it completely risk-free, and they can just test it out, try it out, and see what it's all about. Try and unlock this black box of creating your own company, which is often the issue. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. All right. Any other questions? Anyone?
Thank you. My name is Agnesia from Bandung Digital Valley in Gagal Kalgilir. And then I just want to ask Michael about how you empower also and develop the local developer here in Indonesia. Because I saw a lot of people or developer comes from foreign country or Denmark or maybe another Europe, and for the people here in Indonesia, how Container can give fuel and also inspire them and also involve them in this business. Thank you.
Good question. And yeah, while the video it shows what we call Project Getaway, and Project Getaway is really our goal is actually to bring foreigners to Indonesia. So we try to bring people in from all over the world here to Indonesia and to see the opportunities here and exactly to work with the local people here. We also have what we call the powerhouse, and there we already have lots of locals, great developers, people from Jakarta, Surabaya, and also Bandung, and they're working with us. Some people move to our Bali office, other people work remotely as freelancing. So we really try a lot to do that. And also one of the reasons I'm here today, actually, or we are here today, is really to hopefully you can spread the word about us and we can start working more with the local community. And I'm actually really looking forward to be working in Bandung Digital Valley. So we'll setting up offices there, most likely, and we will, so we'll be, that way we'll be communicating with lots of the entrepreneurs there. And I hope to be able to have more speeches similar to this, but probably on specific topics. So let's say I have a specific speech around online marketing or how to market your ideas, things like that. So, and we also hope we have the next Project Getaway event coming up this year, where we try and create what's called a Startup Weekend. I don't know if you know the term Startup Weekend, but it's an international event where people come together for 1 weekend from all over the area, and they try for 1 weekend to create their own business. So you partner up, you don't know anyone, you just arrive at this event, and you partner up with the different people. And that's a great way for us to connect international people with local people as well here in Indonesia. I think there's one question over here somewhere.
Okay. Hello, my name is Amos. I'm from MBA ITB. Because my English is not so good, so I'm just trying to brief about my 2 questions. My first, did you ever consider about the finance consideration when you establish your businesses? Because based on your story, that half of your whole business is will fail. So did you ever think about the finance consideration before we establish the business? And then the second, in this technology industry, there's so fast change in technology, and what is your conclusion about whether we are trying to improve and update our existing products, or we are always trying to search for new invention for our new products? Which is better?
Which is the better? Or?
Which is the best between these 2 alternatives? Okay, thank you.
Your first question again, sorry, just to make sure.
My first question, did you ever think about the finance consideration?
Oh, yeah, so the testing, yeah. So, and so on the financing, I think that's a great question, and I know my experience, at least so far from Indonesia, is that I understand that many people, what they do to overcome the finance challenge is to partner up many people in teams to try to create a company, and then usually also work on the side. And that was, for instance, exactly how I started. I spent a lot of time working as a freelancer, made enough money to get some bread and to pay for my basement garage. And with that, I could spend my evenings working on my own companies. But with that, there's also other ways to minimize the financial risk. And I believe there's a couple of ways. The most important thing, as I see it, is to try and get customers before you actually start building your product. It's not always possible, but it's worth trying that. In many cases, you can actually get them to commit to paying. So let's say you partner with, in our case with Startup Will, you partner with a university, or Startup Vampire, sorry. We partner with a university and they commit to paying for this game once we finish it. And then we create several partnerships like this. So we have like financial security and then we even have them help us fund parts of the development upfront. So that's one way, so to get payment upfront. The other way would be to try and minimize your costs, of course. And again, we talked a little bit about testing early, talking with your customers. And I think that's the best way, simply to test small, very early on, try and create a quick, small, cheap prototype. Go out, test it out, see if people actually like it. And usually you will find out that, oh, there's some things that should be different, or you need to adapt these different things. Or you might find out, like we did with Soft Detect, we spent 1 year, you see, that's a bad example, right? We spent 1 year developing, we had software developers working on it. After 1 year, we realized, oh gosh, they don't even want it. You know, it was completely, we thought we had the perfect idea and pain point, but we didn't. We completely missed that. And had we only talked early on with the customers, and had we made an early prototype, going out and testing it out with the customers, together with the customers, really get involve the customers, then we could have avoided wasting a lot of money on that. I hope that helps. And please remind me of the second question. I think oh yeah, so the technology side, that's a good question. So I think there's one thing I'd like to emphasize. Lots of people, they follow blogs like TechCrunch. So for instance, I myself read it a lot, or Daily Social here in Indonesia is great as well. The one thing you have to be careful about is that once you read about it there tends to be a hype around that, and then everyone tries to follow that. And that can both be good because it usually means it's a big market, but it also means lots and lots of competition. So I'd actually rather, what I often do is I look at these blogs still, and I still read them, but I then try and find out, okay, what are they not talking about? What are interesting, innovative ideas that is not really being talked about, meaning that, okay, maybe we can be one of the first to create that. So I definitely believe in avoid trying to just copy, and just following the market, because you will usually always be behind by 1 year or so. Hope that answers. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. Have a winner.
Okay. My name is Rido. I'm from MBA. I want to ask about, you said that half of your business is fail, right? How do you decide when to go on and when to stop about that thing?
It's really difficult, right? Imagine you spent 1 year in something, creating it, and you have to admit to yourself that you were completely wrong and wasted 1 year of your life. Now, I did actually work on other projects at the same time, but still, it's a really, really difficult decision to make, and to tell yourself that, okay, now it's time to stop this, start something new, and start all over. The best way to deal with it, like it's a mental challenge, I think. The best way to deal with it is to use a little bit of your finance skills. So we know the concept of sunk costs. So basically any amount of money that you spend on any project is sunk cost, and it doesn't matter. So if you spend 1 year, it doesn't really matter how much time you spend on the idea. If you today look at that idea and it doesn't have a bright future, you should quit it immediately. Or if there's another project that has a bigger potential. But you don't have to necessarily quit it. There is also the option of pivoting. So I like the example of PayPal. I guess most of you know PayPal. PayPal is a great example of how they started out as something completely different. They realized that, oh, okay, there's no potential market for this. They changed their idea, that there's no potential market for that. They kept on changing the idea until they came up with the idea of simple online payment systems. So yeah, definitely try and read a little bit more about those. So those would be my main tips. Let me think, is there anything else on that note? Yes.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Ben. I have two questions to ask you. The first one is, are you willing to make an office in Bandung, Indonesia? I mean, what do you see as potential market here? And the second one is, how do you get money from your business? Because I see this as a software that are easily found on the internet, which are free. So how do you get money from the businesses you make? Because I think you have to pay the people that are working for you, and how do you get money to pay them? I mean, advertising, Google Ads, or anything like that? Yeah.
Okay, so two questions: why Bandung, and how to make money on the products. So first question, why Bandung? I think we started out originally in Bali, and Bali is a great way to attract international talent to Indonesia. But I also know that many Indonesians look at Bali as a vacation place, right? It's not really the place necessarily where you build a career. So one of the reasons we come here into Bandung is also to get access to more talent, more local good developers, designers, business developers, marketers, and so on. Because we know that there's a big potential here in great universities. So that, and the second question, sorry, my mind is, the second question was what?
How do you get money from your business?
Oh yeah, so how to get money for the businesses?
From your business.
From the business, oh yeah, how to make the money. So, as you mentioned, there's many free products out there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't make a better product. There's many examples of if you just, if you take a free product and you just make it a little bit better, there's many people in this world that would like to pay a little bit for that product. You just have to, I think it's about believing a little bit in it. A good example is actually Apple. So while the competitors are not free, the competitors are very cheap. And Apple kind of went out and set a very, very high price because they believed that their products was better and they had a nicer design. And you know, there are some funny videos of people who thought that Apple were crazy in the beginning, but obviously they were right, and with the right amount of marketing, you can convince people to buy your products. So don't just give up if someone has a free competitive product. Look for ways to make it just a little bit better, and think about how you can market this and convince your customers that it's much better. It's dangerous to go into this loop of trying, I have to make it free so that I can get many users. There's a great presentation about David Heinemeier Hansen, another Danish entrepreneur as well, and he talked about this whole issue of many startups wanting to make their product free because they believe it's the only way that they can get into the market. But no, don't try really to think about ways to take a price for your product. And if you can, then go out and talk to your customers and ask them, hey, what would you pay for? What would you be willing to pay just a little amount of money for? And then again, if there is no opportunity, if they don't want to pay anything, then probably you have to make the tough decision and maybe consider a different market. Because then what is the goal in it? It's dangerous, very dangerous to go for these big Facebook kind of ideas, hey, let's make it free and we'll get 1 billion or a zillion users. And while that is possible, the chances are like minimal, right? It's really small. So instead, if you want to have maybe you will not have as big success as you will have with Facebook, but you have a much bigger chance of succeeding. So I'd always recommend to look for ways to have a decent amount of success, especially as a first-time entrepreneur. Look for ways to at least make some amount of money. And again, if you can convince people to buy a product, you should probably consider a different product. So, hope that answers it. Yeah. Any other questions? That's good. Oh, yeah.
Hello, my name is Ashley. I would like to ask 2 questions. The first one is, did you document it well in application development? And is it really useful in your...
If I document the development process? Yeah. Like commenting code?
Yes, like that.
Yes.
And the second one is, did you make a business plan when you start your company?
Okay, so the answers are no and no. So I'm a developer, but I'm not an educated developer, which means that I focus on creating results really fast and again testing small. And I actually many developers will disagree with me, especially if it's educated developers. They believe you have to create a big architecture, you have to plan it out, all out, make huge diagrams, make it look really fancy, document all the code, and then 1 year later you go out and you launch the product and you realize, oh God, no one wants to buy my product. So I always just, I code really fast, and sometimes it's crappy code, it doesn't really necessarily look good. But then I know, I have the mindset, I'll clean it up once people start buying my product. Once I realize that, okay, this business is working, then I'll start documenting the code. We'll hire more developers, bring them on. And as soon as you have more, you have a team of developers, you need to document the code. You need to have a good process of that. With that being said, I comment a few lines once in a while, so yeah, a few comments. And the other question was business plan. Yeah, so no, I never made any. I made business plans in school because I had to. But I've never really done it for a business. So if I do a business plan, it's usually in my head. So I'll think about, okay, do people want to buy this product? I'll go out and talk with them. That seems great, there's a big potential. All right, let me try it out, I'll test it out. After a few weeks, I'll know, I have the idea more concrete. I'll go out and test it again, talk with some customers. And if they still think like, that's really interesting, I'd like to pay for that. Then I'll start thinking more about, okay, what is the potential? And I will make some budgets, figuring out what do we need to actually develop this and how do we go about doing this. But I'll never start out by doing a business plan. The first, I'd even say a few months, it's very much on a sketchboard kind of, and more up in my mind. And then at some point you will, of course, once you get successful and you get customers and you want to have investors from the outside, then you have to make a business plan. And in that case, I have also done. Okay, good question. So this is your chance. Yes.
Okay, my name is Freddy from MBA ITB. I have one question to Michael. You said that failure is the process to get success. And my question is, what should we do when we face a failure to convert the failure to become success? Thank you.
So, yeah, I know, yeah, so my point is you will definitely run into failures. I mean, at least 99.99%, surely you will run into some kind of failure. It can be big or small. But I don't, you shouldn't be waiting for failures. You shouldn't be like, hey, where's my failure? Where is it? Let me go find it. You can actually look for ways to avoid failures as well. So I just want to make that point clear. You don't necessarily have to fail to learn. A better way, of course, will again be to find role models, find people who have done what you're trying to do before you, and ask them, hey, what did you fail at? And what should I do to avoid running into those failures? And usually the answers will be very specific to that specific idea. So depending on what kind of startup you're creating, we could probably talk afterwards. Maybe if you have some specific companies, I could look at it and I can give you some tips on what would you probably run into and what do you have to be careful about. But with that being said, I think it's again, have an open mindset to failures and see it as an opportunity for you to fix something, to improve it. So if you fail, you can learn from it always, and you can avoid doing it in the future, and maybe even better share your failures with other people so they don't make it again. And that's exactly our hope with Startup Vampires. We have identified the 8 most common mistakes that entrepreneurs make, especially first-time entrepreneurs. And the game will then be evolving around those 8 topics. And we want to make sure that we keep telling them, hey, be careful you don't run into this issue. A very common issue is this product market mismatch. So you create a product, but no one wants to buy it. Keep talking with customers, keep testing. So yeah, I hope that answers it. Good. Come on, you have a question somewhere. Don't hold back. You can do it. Yes. That's one. Was that a question? Or I was talking too fast? No. Oh, we have one. Oh, okay. Awesome.
Hello, my name is Ferdinand. I have one question. I'm interested about in software. If you produce software, you may face a license problem that you told me that you failed in big company issue you. Do you have a little tips to face a problem like that? Because as you said that in the software business, there's a lot of developers already. They use the same method, they use the same skill. Maybe they use the same code to bring a new software. But how you strategy? Can you share?
So how to protect the code? We've built several different software products, and there's lots of cracks for them out there in the market. So I know that issue, and I think the best way to deal with it is actually to ignore it and just focus on innovating and again creating a product that people love. And if they like your product, they will pay for it. That's very much my point of view. So in terms of protecting your code from other developers, that's pretty much impossible. Copywriting code is really, really difficult. If you have a specific algorithm, then you could maybe go out and do it. But I would not think too much about it. Again, think about creating a product that is really good and then creating a brand around that so that when customers start to like your product and have a good customer brand loyalty. It's a much, much better way of protecting you're basically protecting your code in this way because people like your product and you as a developer as well. So sorry to say, you probably cannot copyright your code unless you have a really ingenious algorithm that does something fantastic. So yeah, I hope that helps. I think I saw a question up here. Yes, purple.
My name is Radit from MBA TV. I want to ask your opinion about the last video when we was kid. Sometimes I just recall my childhood when I have a big passion and still want to applicate in this time. But there is a problem I realized when we have a great passion, when we have face problem or failure, sometimes we don't know when to change the direction or stop or keep trying. I wanna ask about your opinion about this problem.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, I love that video, and I get kind of emotionally touched every time I watch that. The last one we just saw. The whole mindset of having a kid's mindset is really, really good, because when you all grow up and you study here at ITB or any other universities, they will tell you a lot of the problems and challenges you'll run into and all the things that you cannot do. And that will be a very limiting attitude that will prevent you from creating innovation and new ideas and getting the passion to keep on going. If people keep telling you not to do stuff, it will be tough to keep on going. And people will tell you like, that's not going to work, or yeah. So that's definitely one thing. But having that kid mindset allows you to go out and find any kind of opportunities and believe that you can do it, and then with that mindset you'll be able to look more closely at it and believe that you can go with it. I hope that answers a little bit. You had a second part of the question as well, which maybe just elaborate quickly on that. So
by that your opinions, I get it. If we don't if we decide to keep trying,
stop trying,
or change the direction, or giving up, if we just rely on our hands or what?
Yeah, so it's a little similar to the question we had over here. So I would really, don't be afraid of admitting that you made a mistake. I think you again stop up and just ask yourself, okay, if I had this idea now and I hadn't spent any time at all on creating this business, let's imagine I just stepped in now to this business that I'm working on, would I continue working on it now or would I stop? And if the answer is that I would not do this business knowing all that I know now, then it would be a good time to consider trying something different.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you. My name is Gali. Hello, Michael. I just want to talk. I want to answer and asking about what is your opinion and about opportunities of mobile application. Mobile application, I think mobile. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I think mobile application is a huge market, especially after the iPhone came out. It kind of created a whole new business, a whole new market. But it's also, by now, it's a super crowded market. So it means that there's hundreds of thousands of applications out there. And again, it's a good example, as we talked about earlier, about everyone reading about what's the new trend, what's happening out there, and then suddenly everyone follows the big trend and goes out there. So while I still believe there's big opportunities in mobile markets, you have to really think about innovative ways to use that new kind of platform. So one example I like is a company called Square. So if you know Square, it's a mobile payment solution. And what they did is they found out, we can actually use I have my iPhone here, so we can actually use the jack here at the top. We can use that as a credit card reader. So we can actually allow people to use your iPhone to accept credit card payments. So that's, again, a very interesting way of innovating and figuring out new ways of using an existing platform. So while I think it's dangerous to just go out and create new mobile apps, because many people do that already, then I still believe there's big potential in finding innovative ways to use it. Another example is how Groupon now is focusing a lot on local discounts. So if you're walking around in a shopping mall, many other people are doing it as well. But yeah, so that helps as well. Hope that's. Oh yeah, I should mention this tweeting contest. Thank you for coming. So yeah, as you've probably all seen, we have a tweeting contest. I hope you've all been tweeting like crazy. We will announce a winner, and I think there's a prize of 500,000 Indonesian rupiahs. Yes. So just write some good stuff. Let people know that we are here and we're looking for fun, interesting, cool people to work with. That would be cool. And I think it will go on for the next 3 days. Yes, for the next 3 days. We will then pick the most awesome tweet, and we'll also count it, how many times have been retweeted, like that. Good. More questions? Yes.
Thank you. I am Seven from MBA. I have ever worked in IT consultant company, and I think this business had a tight competition among the industries. I have 2 questions to ask. The first one is, what is your strength if we compare to the other competitors like Mitrais, Bandung, or else? And the second one is, do you have any client in Indonesia, maybe, or such a company, or maybe or in organizations? And if you have, maybe you can mention one, or thank you.
Okay. So yeah, we do have a partnership with people here at least. I'm sorry, I forgot your first question again. What was it?
Your strength.
Oh, your strength. Yes. Okay. Or contagious strengths. So I think the biggest strength that we have is that we focus a lot on having fun and having a great lifestyle. With that being said, it doesn't mean we don't focus on business and creating successful startups. We also have a very good training system. So we focus a lot on having mentors that teach people about new skills, and that's why we have this very international network. So we can bring people from all over the world to help people here improve, learn more about the businesses international as well. So I think those are some of the key strengths that we have. One example could be if you're a designer and developer, or you're a developer who would like to understand how to do design, then we have some skilled people in Denmark that would once in a while come here to Denmark, and we'll have workshops around that to teach people to become better developers or marketers and so on. In terms of partnership, we don't. I mean, we are working now with Bandung Digital Valley, for instance, to help have a nice location here and collaborate with them as well around our games to teach entrepreneurs. And we try always to find local partnerships. So I'm very happy to be working with Agate. Very much looking forward to that. So hope that answers the question. Yeah. One more.
Hello, my name is Ami. I'm interested in your earlier slide when you mentioned the word endless energy. What do you mean by endless energy? And the second question is, how can you manage between your doing your business and doing your life? I can manage that.
So the first one, endless energy, is the passion, and the second one is work smart. So let's start with what I mean by endless energy. What I mean is that the endless energy or the passion is what keeps me awake late at night. It's what keeps me going and keep working on it and keep thinking that my companies are fun. It's also what makes it impossible. When I wake up in the morning, I immediately start thinking about the companies and how we can change the world, or we can improve the product, create even just the slightest small change kind of excites me in the morning, and that's what gets me up the day and really get started. And I think that's, even if you're not an entrepreneur, that's a very important thing to have. It allows you as well to really enjoy everything that you do during the day. So to your second question, how to combine a good life balance, and I think it's this notion of working smart. So if you want to at the end of the day, what it's all about is about creating good results. So you want to create great results, and you can do that either by working hard and work your butt off for many hours every day, or you can decide to work smart and figure out, okay, what is my goal today, and how can I accomplish that goal the fastest possible. Okay? So whenever I do my tasks in the morning, I always ask myself, okay, if these are the tasks and this is the goal, is there any way I can do this faster with less work, reach the same goal? And some of the audiobooks I mentioned talk a lot more about that, and definitely recommend to look into that. Also, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People has a great methodology on how to do this. It's good? Yeah? Great. Yes. Yeah. Question down here.
I have sensitive questions. I wish you would answer, but if you don't answer, it's okay. How old are you? How old are you? And I mean, the duration and in my question is, in what age do you think that the people would achieve their success? Their success, and what age do you think, and do you expect that people would achieve their success in their life, their success in their life? And what about the people, young people in Denmark? Do they always establish business, and in what percentage among the people in Denmark start their business? Thank you.
So, when do people get successful? I know in my case, I sold my first company when I was 24 years old. So that's about 4 years old now. So you can figure out how old I am. So and I think in my case, if you can know, I mean, I don't think there's one way to say you will be successful at this age. The best example is probably Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, crazy successful, of course, and he was pretty young. And there's many other examples of people creating very interesting businesses already at the age of 18 or 19. Or there's many people that create successful business at the age of 40 or 50. If you look at Steve Jobs, for instance, he had a very big success when he was young, but his really big success came when he rejoined Apple many years later, and he was in his 40s. That was, in my view at least, where he really excelled in creating successful businesses. So I think there's no too young or no too old to be a successful entrepreneur.
But it seems like the trend is getting younger.
Yes.
From the history of our life, because when we see about the past, the success people always achieve their success above 40 years.
And that is the reason for that is that the entry barriers are much smaller today. I guess I'm a great example. I was just sitting in my little room when I was 16 years old, and I got my laptop, and I used all my saving to buy a computer once at that time. Of course, we didn't really have. The laptops were very expensive. So I just started coding, and that was all I needed to create my business. Back in the days, if you want to create a mining company or something like that, it, of course, lots and lots of cash is required. So what I'm although seeing, or what we see, is that while the entry barriers on internet companies or tech companies is very small, it is increasing, because there's many bigger companies that have kind of figured out ways to almost create like a factory out of creating companies. So there's definitely more competition today than there was back in the days. But again, it doesn't mean that there isn't new opportunities, like now the iPhone came out, created a whole new market. It's just about spotting those new opportunities. One of the things I see that's interesting to keep an eye on is the Windows Phone. So the partnership with Nokia might, some predictions say that Windows Phone will really take off in the coming years. So, for instance, it might be interesting to look at that as a new potential market with low entry barriers and little competition. Then you had a question about how many percent of
people in
Denmark do it? And I don't know the answer to that, but it's very popular in Denmark. Yeah, it's very popular. But I think it's also, again, I think it's similar to here in Indonesia. There's kind of there is a trend in Denmark where people want to become entrepreneurs, they want to have their own company. So if I had to set a percentage on it, I'd say maybe 20% or something like that wants to create their own business, trying to. But don't hold me up on that. Do you know the answer for Indonesia? What would be your guess if you had to put it? Okay. All right. I think also we're getting there. Yeah? Maybe a last question. Anyone? Last question. If you have any. Oh, there's one.
Hello, Michael. My name is Fiona from MBA ITB. Are you consider yourself as a 100 freelancer, or you consider yourself as a freelancer and also have an office job? Because I just started being a freelancer for the last 5 months, and from my experience, I think it's very difficult because you have to set your own goal. Because before I work for someone, you have your own boss, you have your own supervisor who give you deadline, give you what to finish in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But now I just realized you have to set your own goal, give your own deadline, and what do you have to keep to motivate yourself and to have more success in the future. Thank you.
Good question. So on the yeah. Okay. So first question is like, do I consider myself a freelancer or an entrepreneur? Like I mentioned in the slide, I think I started out as a freelancer in the sense that I created projects that I got a payment for, and then I would hand it over to other people. So it's kind of like outsourcing. Yeah? So they would outsource projects to me. And I guess that's the same you're doing today. Yeah? So I don't do that anymore today, but still I do partnerships. And a partnership, where someone asks us to, we're usually the tech partner, so they ask us to create a product and they help maybe market the product because they have a strong brand or they have a network, then in that case you're kind of freelancing a little bit. So you could see it also as a freelancer, so it's on that side. But I definitely consider myself an entrepreneur today, but I started out as a freelancer. On your second question about how do you manage your time as a freelancer? How do you keep yourself going? And I think you have to try. I really admire your decision to actually go out and try it, even though you didn't really know in the beginning what to do and so on. It's definitely one of those great examples of a black box. What am I getting myself into? And but again, the attitude you have to have is just keep on going and keep on trying and experimenting with different things, and then go out and talk with other freelancers. Ask them in the similar, what business are you in? What kind of freelancing?
Property.
Okay.
Like providing land for developer to make small home, like a small cluster, not too big, just like on 60 to 90 meters land.
So in that case, I can't help you on that, unfortunately. But I'm sure there's lots of people who have been doing similar things. So go out and find these people, talk with them, ask them if you can work for them for free on a project, for instance, to get that experience and how to work with them. And maybe talk to your boss who gave you the task in the old days, if it's similar, of course. Ask him, well, how did you actually plan my day? Don't be afraid to ask people for advice and tips. Usually people, like I'm doing here now, love to talk about what they did and how and help other people become better at what they do. Good answers, yeah. All right. I think.
Well, I believe we have reached the end of our seminar today. It's an honor to have you here with us, Michael. Thank you. Thank you for coming, everybody. And we hope Michael Bodekaer here will give us amazing inspiration and motivation for all entrepreneurs in the future. I believe lots of ideas is coming up in this room here today. And on behalf of SBM, I will give just a great attitude of appreciation. Thank you very much. Any last words for you, for our audience here?
I mean, go out, create awesome companies, and I'd love to hear more about your adventures. And if you have any questions, like specific questions, feel free to come up and talk, not only with me, with all of the guys here as well. We'd love to help you out any way we can. Yeah? Okay, all right.
Again, thank you very much for coming today, and thank you for organizing and bringing Michael Bandung here.
Please everyone give a big hand to Ken, who has also been organizing all of this on the way team. And she's, by the way, she's in charge of the tweeting contest, so make sure you tweet her a little bit as well so you can get extra points.
Okay, don't forget with the tweeting contest. Okay, have a nice weekend all.